In this video, I'm going to show you how to raise an FFA round of $100,000 for your startup. FFA stands for Friends, Family, and Associates. And if you're raising an early stage round, pre-seed or seed, this is how you're going to do it. I'm going to show you in 10 steps. These are 10 steps that have been successful for me, for other founders that we've worked with, that we've helped raise capital. This is for you. On the screen right here are all the instructions written out. I'm going to leave the link in the description and pin it in a comment below so you can read all these instructions step by step and follow along. This happens to be on the website fundable.com, which is one of the websites that we use for Reg D, funding, listing startups, and raising capital. You don't have to use fundable.com. If you're part of startups.com, you get access to fundable.com, and I highly suggest the tool. Go check it out, but you don't need to. Just follow the steps. They're all here right for you. Just follow along and you'll be fine. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang. I'm a 7-time funded founder with 2 X's. That's just a fancy way of saying I've failed a bunch of times because I've learned more from my failures than my successes, and that's to your benefit because I use my YouTube channel and videos like this to help early stage founders, especially if you're raising pre-seed or seed funding, avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes. I'm going to try to make your life a little bit easier because it's hard enough as it is. I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer for Startups.com. I've advised over hundreds and hundreds of startups. Over 1,000 companies, ventures have gone through our program. We have 3,000 alumni in our database. You want to check us out. If you're already part of Startups.com, thank you so much for being part of the community. Appreciate all your support. While you're here, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube thing. It always helps. I work with the team that has raised over $750 million for startups, and I've also raised $100 million and more for my startups, other startups, as well as startup funds. So we know what to do, but one of the most important aspects of this, the first step that gives you the momentum, that confidence, is raising that first $100,000. There's just something magical about that first 100K that gives you that lift that you need. It really puts you in that territory where you're validated, you've got things you can work on, you got a little bit of budget, but not too much budget. Then you can go on and raise another $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million in your seed, whatever you want to do. But that first 100K is a game changer for everybody if, in fact, you're raising money. On top of which, you raise that 100K, if you do it right, and you do right with the money, you may not need to raise again. If you just start generating revenue and you start looking at the different opportunities to cash flow, get to profitability, maybe you'll bootstrap and raise a little more friends, family, associates money, but you might get to avoid institutional capital, VC, which completely changes the game, and you just might build a really great company that makes 10, 20, $50 million, and you don't have to worry about VC. That would be a great outcome. Either way, you're going to start here with these 10 steps on how to raise an FFA round. Once again, here's your introduction. FFA stands for Friends, Family, and Associates. Some people use the term FFAF for Friends, Family, and Associates and Fools because you have to be pretty foolish to invest in startups at early stage. I've written a ton of foolish angel checks in my day. That's all right. The upside is there. You just have to work at convincing the investor that you are the one that you can trust. De-risk the investment as much as possible, and you'll be fine in your FFA. Here's the guide. There are 10 steps. The first step is that you will finish your pitch deck with these slides at minimum. They're on your screen right here. These slides are going to be your problem, solution, market size, how it works, business model, go-to-market, competition, team, traction, and ask. Those are the minimum slides that you want to finish. I've got lots of material on this channel on how to do pitch decks, my ultimate pitch deck guide, and if you're part of startups.com, we're working on your pitch decks the whole time. You want to get those slides finished, but you don't necessarily have to get them completely finished. And here's my tip. Important. Don't design your pitch deck until it's validated. Here's what I'm talking about. If you go and design a pitch deck and you spend all this capital, which a lot of founders, they do. They end up spending all this money, or they pour over and they spend all this time on all the design. And if you're not a designer, it doesn't even come out that great anyway. When I do a pitch deck and I start off with my outline, it's black and white, it's simple, it's just very straightforward. It's so boring. I don't have pictures. I don't try and get creative with anything. I'd rather be clear than clever, clear than have it all designed and look pretty, because I want validated feedback, and that's what you might want to do. And that's what this tool here, fundable.com, allows you to do. It just put in some black and white simple text to test out your pitch deck. Let me show you what this looks like using fundable.com. You can use this in PowerPoint slides, just text, straightforward, plain Jane. I have written here, problem. Workers toggle between various tools and services 1,200 times daily, increasing the mental energy, time, and cost required to complete tasks by up to 40%. This is from the American Psychological Association. This is just a straightforward black and white statement. You don't need pictures to understand. That's the best part about this pitch deck. I've demoed this before on my channel. This pitch deck went on to raise $500,000 through its simplicity and clarity. Simplicity and clarity, being concise, shows your confidence as a founder that you don't need a lot of words. That's the reason if my slide can work with just a straight headline, something like this, then I know I'm on the right track, and I test it. I test it with people and say, what do you think about this problem statement? Now, after you've written this out and you've gotten validation, when you haven't spent any time on design, remember, you're not designing yet, then you can move to a pitch deck slide that looks like this. You see here, now we've got design. We've got problem in the top left corner, workers toggle between various tools, etc., with a little bit of a graphic. That's all you really need. But start off with the black and white draft, the outline first, and test away. That's one of the secrets on how I get my pitch decks out there a lot faster, and they're a lot clearer because I tested out before I put in design. Now, here's an option for you. You may want to do some idea validation and test out your elevator pitch, or what they call an idea validation deck. The secret is I raise funds right from day one. And I put together an elevator pitch deck that has just these 5 slides: problem, solution, market size, how it works, my competitive advantage, in other words, and my team. Why do I do this? And this is the pro tip here. I start from day one because whether I need capital or not, I want to test my unique value proposition in terms of with investors and potential customers. So as soon as I have the idea and I'm doing idea validation, I put one of these together and I send it off. I'm going to show you who you want to send it off to, my ABC list, my friends, family, and associates, starting with my friends. And I say to them, does this make sense? Is it clear? Is it straightforward? I haven't thought about anything else. I'm not raising any money. I just want your feedback. And that's an idea validation deck where I test my elevator pitch. And a lot of founders want to get right into building the financial slide and the ask slide and the team slide and really just get super detailed and even anal with all those slides. But how do you know those slides are going to work? You might as well start off and save yourself some time in the long run and just get your idea validated on whether it makes sense for investors. Because when you do that in the beginning, when you're ready to raise funds, let's say you build an MVP and you start getting traction, those investors are going to see your progress and they're going to wonder, you might even create some FOMO. I've had idea validation decks out there where I've said, here's my idea. I just want to know if you think it's valid or not. What do you think? And they ask me by the end of it, are you raising money? I say, no. And they say to me, you know what, Ed, if you would have asked me for money, I would write you a check, keep me posted. That's happened a lot of times. And if you've got the reputation of founder or you really nail your unique value proposition, your elevator pitch, investors are going to be interested in at least getting updates from you. And that's the benefit of this stage. Moving along, you are going to build your FFA ABC list. FFA stands for Friends, Family, and Associates. You are going to look at all of your friends and write them all down. Look through your LinkedIn, family, and associates. Why? Friends are the most friendly. That's why they're called friends, and you're going to test things out. But friends always know family, a rich aunt, a rich uncle, and they can refer you, or friends and family will refer you to associates. So it's like a ripple effect. They're concentric circles. You start with friends, family, associates. If you're not ready to pitch to your friends, and you go, oh, I don't want to pitch to my friends because they're my friends. I don't want to pitch to my family because they're my family. Even just for practice to see, to get feedback, you are not going to be ready for associates. You are not going to be ready for cold calls and investors you don't know. If a founder is unwilling to pitch their friends and family, a lot of angel investors will say, I'm not interested. If you're not even going to have the confidence to go to your friends and family and take their money, then why would I give you my money? You might be treating that relationship a little bit different. You're going to value your friends and family. You're not going to want to let them down, and then you go for angel money. And you'll be treating them with the same honor, respect, fear the Lord, as they say. You're going to have this sense of responsibility and accountability. But a lot of founders, what happens is they say, I don't want to lose friends' money and I don't want to lose family money, so I'm just going to go to angel investors. And that's the complete opposite way that you want to be thinking about it. You want to be thinking, if I'm not even willing to invest my friends' money or my family's money, then I don't have confidence. Maybe you need to rethink on whether your investment is going to work. Your startup is worth that investment if you don't even have that confidence. It's a really interesting test. Would you take your parents' money and put it in your startup? Maybe because they're not ready for that type of investment, you won't. But if you had the confidence to take that type of money, that says a lot to the angels out there. And I know angels that'll flat out say, if you're not taking in FFA money, I'm not interested. That's the reason you want to at least practice. I'm not saying you have to take their money. I'm not saying you have to just go to your family and say, give me some money, because you might have a rich aunt or a rich uncle that's ready to YOLO some money in. You want to have the level of confidence that you can pitch friends and family and get their endorsement. And that's how you start to spread out your network, because they will refer you to those associates who could become those angels. Next, you are going to rank your friends, family, and associates according to ABC. A stands for close personal contacts. These are the individuals where you know them, they know you, you know their kids, they know your kids, you are willing to vacation together, you have vacation together, you have the personal relationship, and you can call in a favor. You can say, hey, I need you to look at my pitch deck. I need you to do me a favor. Let me pitch you. I want to talk to you about this, and they will respond. Your B circle are the professional contacts. They know of you, and they'll take your email, they'll take your LinkedIn message, but you're not going to be chummy. You're not best pals with them. You don't share a poker night with them or a bowling league. You know them and you respect each other professionally, and so it's going to be a warmer type introduction to them. And then you got your C's. These are the contacts that your A's and B's are going to refer, or your cold contacts. Don't worry, we're going to get to cold calling investors. If you don't know anybody, a lot of founders think, oh, I don't have the network, I don't have the contacts. Trust me, you have more value in your network than you might think. And if you don't, then you might want to think about your own skills and what you are doing to build your network. But you're going to clump them all together into A, B, and C categories. You're going to bucket them, and you're going to build a CRM. It's important to build a CRM, even a simple spreadsheet. There are a lot of things out there that you can use. I've used Pipedriver as one of my favorite ones. Google Sheets is pretty much your standard, but build a CRM. You're not going to contact investors yet. Don't worry, you're going to do that later. That's your step 2. Build your FFA ABC list after you got your pitch deck done. Step 3, you're going to contact your A list. You're going to work through your A list, and you're going to send them a link to your fundable. I'll send them a link to this site if you're using it, or just send them a link to your pitch deck. You're going to upload it online. You're going to say, here's a link to my pitch deck. You're going to ask them to give you feedback on your campaign. You're going to say, hey, I'm raising money. I just want your feedback. You're not going to ask them to invest. They're going to assume that they can because they're your friends. These are the people you've contacted. You don't want to, sour that relationship or make it uncomfortable and awkward by saying, hey, I want to hit you with money. It's easier to say, hey, can you just give me your opinion? I know so many founders that believe in the adage, if you ask for advice, you'll get investment. If you ask for investment, you'll get advice. So ask for advice. I know founders who've sent cold emails introducing themselves, and they say, I'd love to know your opinions about this space. This is what we're building, and it's turned into an investment. I've seen the copy. I've seen these emails work, and that's the same approach you want to do with your F list and your A's. Your FAs, friends, and the A list. And then you're going to ask them after they've given you feedback, if it makes sense, you're going to ask them, who else do you think I should talk to? This is what I say. I say, hey, I want to talk to other people of your caliber because I really value your opinion. Who else do you think I should talk to? Strokes their ego a little bit. And I pretty much say, hey, just go look through your LinkedIn right there. I'll give you a little way to introduce me. But who else do you think I should talk to? Any referrals you get are going to go into your C list. You're not going to contact them right away. You're going to get them ready. And then you're going to ask your friends, can I keep you updated? Of course, they're going to say yes, and that's what you want to do. You want to start building that list because you never know. They could be watching you, and as soon as you hit a milestone, they say, now you need to talk to my rich uncle. Now you need to talk to my partners at work. That's what you want to do. So keep them updated. Continue to build that relationship that you already have. As you get feedback, you're going to refine your pitch deck until it's perfect, and you're going to know when. You're going to hit this sort of resonance. There's this moment where, as soon as everybody reads it, they get it right away, and you're going to keep going back and forth, and you're going to iterate on it. It takes months to refine it. You'll find that certain parts of your pitch deck don't make sense. They make sense in your mind, or they're not worded properly, or they're throwing off your friends, family, and associate potential investors. You want to change it. Be open to feedback. Have a soft heart and thick skin. If they get critical about it, fine. Let them be, but be open-hearted. Listen to everybody and hear it from their perspective. Empathize with them, because that's going to help you with investors in the future. And this is the point. You might want to start adding graphics because you got the copyright. You figured it out. Graphics come in at this moment. Next step, you're going to draft a short outreach email or DM to the B list. It has to be short. It's going to include literally one sentence for each, a compelling subject line. Then you're going to say reason for the contact. Hey, I saw you on the podcast, or I was referred, or I see that you invest in this space, and I'd really love to connect with you. Your unique value proposition in one sentence. This should be coming off the back of your hand. You should know it by heart by now, and you've got it refined down to one powerful sentence. Then your team sentence, Here's who we are. This is what we've done. Traction. Here's how far we've come. We have so many users. The ask sentence, I'm raising $500,000 in my pre-seed round. And then your link to your fundable listing or your pitch deck. And you're going to link it. Remember, you're having practice all the way up to this point in time. This introductory email or DM is going to be more important than the pitch deck itself. Because if they don't get through this, they're never going to open up your pitch deck. It literally is the little advertising. It's the Super Bowl ad for your pitch that they're going to open up to see your website or the rest of your advertising. That's how important this is. So we're going to help you. I can help you refine this, and it has to be super tight. Your temptation is going to be to load everything that you can into this and put out a massive wall of text email that takes 3 to 5 minutes to read. No, it's one sentence a pop. This should take no more than 90 seconds to read. This is based on anecdotal evidence of how many investors have said, Ed, I usually like to respond. If I can just read the email, I can read the introduction in a short period of time. They'll even say, no, sorry, we don't invest in that space, or no, I'm not investing right now, or no, I'm not interested, because you've given them the courtesy of giving them a short email. They'll respond with the same courtesy of a short email, and that's better than getting nothing. Step 5, you're now going to work your B list because your campaign is validated. You've gone through all your A's and you made the refinements. You're going to contact the B list, you're going to follow up, you're going to ask for feedback, ask to keep them updated, and do not ask for referrals. I cannot stress this more. Do not ask for referrals. I don't know how many times that a founder has contacted me and said, hey, I'm looking to raise investment. And I say, not interested, not in this. And they go, oh, okay, do you know anybody else who would invest? That is not the time. That is not the place. If I start engaging with you and I say, well, here are the few things, maybe if you got me in a conversation and you ask me questions, then that's great. But I've gotten these really weird, ridiculous contacts, these DMs on LinkedIn. I'm raising this amount. Let's talk. I say, I'm not interested. Oh, okay. Well, who else can you refer? Can you introduce me to your other investors? You don't even know the reason I don't want to talk to you. Your pitch might be so bad, and now you're just putting more nails in the coffin. The least you could do is get feedback and say, wow, I'd really love your opinion further. Who else do you think I should talk to if I engage? But if I give you a straight out no, don't ask me for more referrals. It's never going to work. And you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You basically eliminated the time. You've shut it down. You've burned the bridge, whatever, shut the door, whatever metaphor you want to use for a future conversation, because now you've soured your first impression with me. Don't ask for referrals unless they've engaged with you and you are in a spot. Use your emotional intelligence, understand the relationship, empathize with them, and know when to ask for referrals. But as a rule of thumb in the beginning, do not do that. Step 6, now you're going to move on to your C list. And that's when you contact your C's, you follow up, you ask for feedback. When should you follow up? 2 weeks after is typical. 1 week is fine. 2 weeks, typically, that's what I would say to do. And then you ask for feedback. I'd love to know what your feedback is. Ask to keep them updated. If they give you feedback and say, no, not interested now, oh, would you mind if I keep you updated? And that's a way that you keep that relationship going, because they may say, it sounds really interesting, keep me posted. I've seen investors say, yeah, we're not ready right now. We'd love to see what you're doing in 6 months. Keep us updated. You ask them, and they'll most of the time say yes. Sometimes I've said to investors, hey, I know you're not ready to invest right now, but can I just send you some product just in case? You might as well try it. They've said yes. And anything you can do to stay in that relationship, that gives me an excuse to follow up 2 weeks later. Hey, did you get my product? What do you think? And they might have changed their minds by looking at the product. You never know. Ask to keep them updated. Once again, do not ask for referrals unless they have fully engaged with you. Now, here's the question. Do you send them this fundable link if you're using Fundable? The rule of thumb is no, not to your C list. The C list are your associates. They might be official angels, and you do not want to send them a Fundable link because they may not be interested in going through a site like Fundable. You want to send them your pitch deck, and you want to upload it online if you haven't done so already, and send them a link. Upload to Google Drive, Dropbox, or use one of those fancy DocSend type services with Dropbox, and just give them a link and say, here's my link. What you want to avoid is the chance that you might hit that investor that may look down upon you using a listing service, or may not feel special like you're contacting them directly, especially if you got a referral. Got a referral from your A and B list, and you said, hey, so-and-so knows you and thought it would be really great to talk. They introduced us via email. Treat them special and customize all your interactions. If you are going to be selling something to someone and asking them for a $50,000 check, a $100,000 check, you better customize that entire interaction. I wouldn't go sell to someone and not look them up and not research them. That's the reason you want to make sure, do your homework and customize every single step and make everybody feel special, especially if they've been referred, because not only do you want them to feel special, you want the person who referred you to feel special and look good because they referred a quality referral. Their reputation is on the line. Don't let them down. Make sure that interaction is buttoned up and it's sophisticated and you do it right. Again, I will help you with this if you're working with me here at startups.com. Step 7, use our investor directory when you're ready. This is for members here at startups.com. We have an online investor directory. We're uploading every single day. We're verifying all the contacts and the investor information for you. Use that when you're ready. By now, you've gone through your A list, your B list. You are a veteran. You know what's going on. Now you're ready to go contact those micro VCs, those angel networks, those early stage investment funds, those VCs that are super early stage. You're ready. You're going to do it right. Once again, don't send them the link to your fundable. Make sure you upload your pitch deck and use the proper search filters so that you're contacting the right investors with the right stage. You don't want to be contacting an investor who needs to write a minimum check of $3 million and say, can I have $500,000? Or you don't want to contact the investor that is writing $50,000 and you say, I'm in my seed round already and I need $2 million. That's not going to work. Make sure you contact them. Do your homework the same way that you're doing with the other contacts on your list. Research the investors and make sure that you reach out to them in a customized fashion. Step 8, get your data room ready. Nothing's worse when you're talking to an investor and you hit it off and they say, all right, I'm interested. Send me your deal room. And you're like, what's that? We don't have it ready. And you're scrambling. If you're serious about raising money, you're going to have a deal room ready. It's where all your data information that's part of due diligence goes in there. And here's a list right there, not limited to this list, but you're going to put your executive summary, your pitch deck, business plan, financial statements, cap table, production, documentation, market research, legal documents, team bios, customers, and sales data, and NDAs are usually signed first before everybody starts exchanging this information. Anything that they need for due diligence to verify and de-risk the investment and know you're legit, all those things have to be in this deal room or else you're not going to get the investment because they have fiduciary responsibility to their investors. And if they don't dot their I's and cross their T's and get all this information, they're going to be in trouble. I have to do so much due diligence, especially when I've been working with a bank or senior family trust with banking involved. I've had to do so much due diligence. Make it easy on the investor. Get that deal room ready. We can help you with this as well. Here's step 9 and step 10. Step 9, keep working on your traction. Use inflection points to update your investor. What are inflection points? Those are milestones that you've hit where suddenly the value of your startup has dramatically increased or you've de-risked it dramatically that investors are now going to be a lot more confident in giving you their money. Update your campaign listing with news. If you're using Fundable, there's a cool little button to say, hey, we have news updates. It's kind of like the same thing that happens on Kickstarter. These are new updates. It's like news, information, blogs, and everything like that. And investors can actually follow you here on Fundable if you're using that. The more traction, always remember, the easier it is to raise. So get into an accountability program. If it's not with us here at startups.com where we can coach you and drive your metrics every week, are you growing every week? Then find a group. Find a work group, some other founder and say, I need to commit to 10% week over week growth, or I need to commit to this type of user growth or reducing our churn every single week and be accountable to them. That's the way founders need to work. If you can't be accountable to fellow founders or your advisor, friendly advisors like me at startups.com, how are you going to be accountable to investors? They're going to be putting so much pressure on you. You might as well learn how to be accountable and drive results with peers, with coaches, with advisors, rather than fumble the ball when the pressure is on the line. The stakes are absolutely real. So get into accountability. I can't stress this enough. When I was raising money and we took our company and we interviewed down at Y Combinator, they accepted us. I put a little sticky note on my computer and I said 10% week over week growth. That's what the sticky said. And we drove that metric. And if we didn't hit 10% week over week growth, we asked, what's wrong? What do we need to change? That was feedback that we needed. But I was accountable to that little sticky post, to my co-founder, and we pushed super hard. That's the level of intensity that you need if you want to be raising money from your startup, especially pre-seed, early stage. Traction comes in all different shapes and sizes. Revenue is ideal, but there might be signups, downloads, different people, followers on social media. Whatever it is, drive that metric because it's going to get real. As soon as you accept that check, you are now accountable. You've hired your new boss, and you're accountable to that boss to drive that metric. Make sure you get used to it now. Don't wait. The final step, manage your expectations, especially when it comes to your expectations according to your time. This is how you should be spending your time. 50% should be time working on traction. 25% talking to customers. 25% working with investors, talking to investors. How are you going to work on traction? You might have to keep building product. You might have to be improving it somehow or another. Make sure that happens. And 25% of the time, you're talking to customers and finding out, hey, what type of feedback? And then the other 25%, you work with investors. What you have is a simple model to divide your time, literally block your calendar off. Now, if you got multiple co-founders, hopefully you have somebody who's working on product the whole time. But raising capital is a full-time job. I know people who need to work on their product and they don't have time to talk to investors because their product isn't ready yet. You have to be at a point where you're ready to show investors something. So if you got co-founders, that's going to be great. Assign someone to keep working on the product, but this is where your time should be going. Make sure you manage your expectations of what you can achieve within that time. If you think you can raise funds in 1 month, you better have something really good to show investors, and those relationships should already be established. It takes 6 to 9 months these days for the check to hit the bank. So if you're out of runway and you're saying, I need to raise in 1 month or we're out of money, well, then that was too late. So do not wait to get this going. Update your listing with news, with inflection points. Keep your investors updated, your prospective investors as well, with all the news. Send out newsletters, have regular webinars, do what you need to keep them engaged, but keep working on that traction. Manage your time and your expectations. And don't forget about self-care. Take care of yourself, get enough sleep, drink your water, get exercise, manage that stress because this is stressful. You are pushing super hard. But by now, if you've done all the steps all the way up to 1 through 9, step 10 is going to be a lot easier for you. Finally, a few things that you want to check. Read this section of the legal part of this guide that I've given you. Security regulations. You got to make sure that you're dotting your I's, you're crossing your T's as far as regulatory environment is concerned. Securities Commission takes this very seriously. Make sure you're following the proper compliance, the regulations, filing the exemptions, the paperwork, the Form D. Even if you're using safe notes, that's a whole other ball of wax. Get your legal team ready. Make sure you have access to good, solid legal advice. I can't give you legal advice. We can't do that here, or give you financial advice, but we can connect you with people who can give you that advice, and you're going to be okay. But just understand that you can't just go out there and raise money, taking a check and not tell anyone, or file with the SEC. You have to be dotting your I's, crossing your T's as far as compliance is concerned. Go look it up. I put some links there for you to understand what is required. That's it. If you are ready to get started, we got a fundable code. If you're a member of startups.com, just redeem it at that link right there. If you want a package, we can help you move from the DIY, do it yourself, and we can do it with you. And I will coach you and advise you on your pitch deck and get you going. We got a real cool way of helping you out as part of your membership here at startups.com. Let us know. If you're not part of startups.com, no pressure. Check us out. But you can do this all on your own without our help. Just follow the steps. It's all right there for you. And maybe if you've been successful and you've used this guide to raise a nice fat round, you'll repay the favor. You'll pay it forward and help other founders and join us at startups.com because of your appreciation. I appreciate you spending this time. Watch some of these other videos here on the screen that I put for you to help you with the pitch decks and all the little steps combined. Check the link below the description for this guide. You can see it for free, and I will see you in the next video.